Hello everybody, I'm Matt, and today I'm going to be reviewing possibly one of the best releases, if not the best release from Big Finish Productions. I'm talking, of course, of The Chimes of Midnight. The Chimes of Midnight is the 29th release of the Big Finish Doctor Who monthly range. It was released in February 2002, marking the month of this upload, the 15th anniversary of the story. Not only that, I was born in February 2002, so we have a connection. It stars Paul McGann as the Eighth Doctor and India Fisher as Charlie Pollard. It was written by the legendary Rob Shearman, who, for you New Who fans out there, wrote the episode Dalek. I cannot stress enough how much I recommend you listen to it. Seriously, it's £3. Go get it. You have no excuse. It's such a bargain for this beautiful gem of a story. Anyway, the TARDIS takes the Doctor and Charlie to place in London in 1906. They're in a dark room and the TARDIS isn't reading anything. We get introduced to the character of Edith Thompson, a scullery maid. She's an important character of the story, and we also get introduced to Mr. Shaughnessy and Mrs. Battersea, also important characters. Not as important as Edith, but they're important. We also hear that two other characters, Frederick and Mary, are having basically an affair. I mean, it says in the script illegal relationship, but it's an affair, let's face it. Doctor and Charlie see the fire, but it's frozen in place. They also use a cracker, but it pulls itself together. The Doctor says time is blocking them out, which isn't possible unless if an outside source is intentionally doing this. And he tells Charlie to pull the cracker again. Same thing happens, except he managed to grab a joke and a paper hat, which he puts on. But the joke says, when is a door not a jaw? But instead of saying, when it's a jar, it says, when it's a raspberry jam jar. Nice play on words, but as we can see, whoever or whatever is doing this, it's certainly mocking them. Anyway, Charlie meets Edith, but then Edith says something weird. She says that she'll die, which she does. Now, everyone is saying that Edith committed suicide, even though it's quite obvious she was murdered. For once, the Doctor and Charlie are not accused. They are apparently detectives, according to the other characters. Amateur sleuths, if you will. I'll take a break to mention the music. It is much better than Marigold's music, and it really fits the atmosphere. Russell Stone perfectly encapsulated the tone and the setting of Chimes of Midnight within its music. We also start to see a few motifs in the plot. Mrs. Baddeley constantly feeding Charlie plum pudding, everyone accusing each other of murder because of their shifty eyes. Well, that's just a recurring element, not necessarily a motif. But because it's not throughout the story, it's just throughout the next couple of scenes that happens. But also, everyone asks the Doctor and Charlie if they've solved the mystery. Also, everyone saying, oh, it's suicide, that is also a motif. Charlie has a brief interlude with Edith. It becomes a common occurrence. Edith says Edward Grove is alive. That is also quite a motif, if I do say so myself. Mrs. Baddeley was murdered at 11. 11 o'clock. In the script, it makes it look like she was murdered as an 11-year-old. Gosh, I need to write better scripts. Anyway, she was stuffed with her plum pudding, but she had the same scream as Edith's, so that is interesting, I guess. But the Doctor and Charlie want to go upstairs, but Mr. Shaughnessy tells them not to and threatens them with a gun. Because, but turns out it's getting closer to midnight than it should, because it was only a few minutes since they heard the chimes of the grandfather clock, but it's 20 past 11, or something like that. So we know that whoever's doing this can manipulate time at will, and I really enjoy how this villain is given such an aura of mystery. We do piece together what they can and cannot do, so they're still mysterious, and we want it to be solved, but it uses breadcrumbs for that, so When the chimes strike 12 o'clock, it resets back to 10 o'clock, back to Edith's murder, except she died in a different way, also to do with her job. A few scenes later, Mrs. Baddeley foreshadows that Charlie was her favourite, her little puppet, right before a version of Edith appears telling Charlie to remember her. But then at 11, Frederick gets killed instead, presumably by his car. And everyone is saying it's suicide, even though it's impossible. You know, constant talk of suicide, because that's what Christmas is all about. Constant talk of suicide. That really lightens the mood. Really does. Also, I love the fact that there are motifs in the story when everything's pulled together at the end. Like, all of the motifs get pulled together at the end. Like, Edith being forgotten, Mrs. Baddeley and her plum pudding, Edward Grove is alive. All of these things just advance the plot beautifully, and they get tied up in the end, I swear. The Doctor tries to scare the entity by leaving, but Mr. Shaughnessy tries to stop him. The Doctor has no interest, anyway. We find out who Edward Grove is, or rather, what Edward Grove is. The house itself, 22 Edward Grove. This plot twist shocked me the first time I heard it. The house manipulated everything in the plot. Even the time, just everything. Edward Grove is one of, if not my favourite Doctor Who villain. I did not say scariest, I said favourite. So don't put hateful comments saying, "Oh, but you said this in the scariest Doctor Who villain." Yeah. No, he's like one of my favourites, not scariest. I just like him because, you know, it's a frickin' house. It's a frickin' house. How many other, like, Doctor Who villains are a house? Then there's another reset, but everything is happening at a faster pace. So I don't mean, like, time is going faster. I just mean all the characters are doing things in a much more fast way. But then the Doctor and Charlie try to leave. Can't escape Edward Grove. Dun, dun, dun. Edward Grove then speaks to the Doctor through Mr. Shaughnessy, while Charlie speaks to Edith, revealing herself to be Charlie's old cook, revealing why Mrs. Baddeley keeps making plum pudding for Charlie, because Edith kept making them just for Charlie when she was little. The Doctor wonders why Edward Grove wants to live, but Grove himself, it's weird referring to a house by a surname. That is weird. Edward Grove just said that existing is good enough. But then Edith reveals touching memories about her and Charlie, and depressing memories from other points in her life. I put lives in the script. Why am I terrible at writing scripts? We also learn that Edith committed suicide after learning that Charlie died in the R101. Well, this is a dark story, innit? Like, I kind of morbidly love, like, darker Doctor Who stories, like The Holy Terror, a child stabbing his own father. I kind of love those things. The Holy Terror isn't dark in any way, but I just love darker moments. Even though Nick just laughs at them. Depression and suicide, that's a touchy subject, and I do find it quite personal. I don't feel suicidal myself, or depressed myself, but to me it's actually quite personal. And if you're like, oh, how can it be personal? Shut up. Actually, shut up. I'm not going to reveal anything. But yeah, it was handled quite well in this story. And we also get a kind of, I don't know how to describe this, like, we can vividly imagine the way that Edith killed herself by using, like, carving. But then that's all we know, but we can imagine what she did by her descriptions, so it's detailed, yet not detailed, which they are executed wonderfully, but geez, that's depressing. Doctor Who, depressing you since 1963. We also have the great concept of Charlie remembering her death that she never had on the R101. I love this as it's a great concept, as time, we don't know much about it, so the ways it works can be toyed around with, like, oh, this is what's meant to happen, thus you remember it. The Doctor connects with the real Shaughnessy, the inner Shaughnessy, and orders him to strangle him to death, and as a butler, he does. So then the Doctor is trying to speak to Charlie and stopping her from killing herself because Edith is just like, am I alive or dead? Charlie is just like, dead, we're both gonna die. So then Charlie is about to kill herself, but the Doctor just stops her. And when I was listening to this full review, this actually, I mean, I'm not gonna say hit close to home. I haven't like talked people out of suicide before, but honestly, this is like a parallel. Like, seriously, go listen to this for yourself. Even though it's probably more emotional speaking to someone like trying to make them not commit suicide. The Doctor is doing this. He is literally trying to stop Charlie from committing suicide. So, for that, I actually applaud this story. So yeah, it's actually quite good. And also, Edward Grove actually tells Edith to kill herself. The Doctor also saves Edith from suicide. And just like, seriously, Edward Grove literally just says, kill yourself. Seriously, I can't make this up. The Doctor and Charlie see if they broke out the time loop and go back to Edward Grove, and then made a heartfelt moment with Edith giving her self-confidence, which, as someone that has self-confidence issues myself, I actually resonated a little. I mean, I don't have nearly as much self-confidence issues as, like, Edith would probably have, as she's constantly told that she's nothing, and she'll never amount to anything. But then, she's given that little glimpse of hope. And it's a touching way to end the story. In conclusion, Chimes is not just a bog-standard Big Finish audio to listen to. The Chimes of Midnight is an experience. And although 2016's The Return of Dr. Mysterio may have been the best televised Christmas special, this tops any other potential definitive Christmas story. And it's not even a December release. In short, Chimes is an expertly crafted tale of overcoming suicidal thoughts, although the main thread needed a little more time in my opinion. It's not too much to tarnish the story. The villain of Edward Grove is one of, if not my favourite Doctor Who villains of all time, as I've said. Simply just wanting to exist, feeding off of death, is great. And it's a house, for goodness sake. It's a house. That is like one of the most creative Doctor Who villains of all time. A house. A sentient house. I just love that. I also love the character of Edith Thompson. She's my favourite non-companion, non-villain character Big Finish has ever written. On the whole, I rate The Chimes of Midnight a solid 10 out of 10. It's the Big Finish audio. Even though Scherzo does make stiff competition for that title. This ranks as one of my all-time favourite stories in the Doctor Who canon, and there's a little image on the screen showing everything that could rank as that title, including Chimes itself. So yeah, so thanks for watching this review. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the Universals, and also click on the little notification bell if you want to get notified on all of our uploads, and even live streams if you want to watch us live, which our live streams are terrible, so I don't see why you would. But still, do these things.